Hello there and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and I'm a third year international student currently living in South Residence Maritime, and today we're going to be talking about how you should choose your residence at the University of Guelph after you've been accepted. I think it's really important for you to come to campus and take a tour and really see all of these spaces in person so that you can get a really good feel for the space and you can start imagining yourself living here. But I know that it's definitely not possible for everyone to come to Canada. A lot of my viewers, because I'm an international student, are international as well. So I'm making this video especially for you guys to give you a little bit of an insight into which residences will be best for your needs at the university and how you apply for those. So after you've been accepted at the university, you do have to choose a residence if you've stated that you will be requiring residence on campus. And I think that the date for that is usually in June. My year, I think it was June 1st. In other years, it's been June 15th. So make sure that you check your portal through WebAdvisor or the emails that you've been getting to make sure that you don't miss that deadline because that would be quite devastating. I know there's also the fact that you have to submit a residence deposit. So make sure that you have that in order. It's usually a $750 Canadian dollar deposit. So, get all of your ducks in a row before you start really dreaming about what exact residence you will be living in. The University of Guelph has a huge residence capacity. I think there's about 5,000 students that live on campus, which is absolutely humongous. And there's maybe 12, I think there's 12 residence buildings. They're separated into 4 different categories. There's north, south, east, and west, and I'll be talking about all of those today. Currently, we are in a South residence single room, so if you want to check out the full tour of this room, you can find that right here in the iCard. And I've also in the past lived in an East Village townhouse, and you can check that out up here in that link as well. So what residence is going to be best for you? I think it's really important for you to make a list of your priorities when you're coming to residence. There's a lot of different things that people can have an opinion on, and not everyone's opinion is the same. There's usually no right opinion. So put out a list of your things that are like a deal breaker, especially things like, will you have a roommate? Will you have a kitchen? How many people will you share your bathroom with? Do you have air conditioning? Things like that. They're all very important, and some of the residences have those, some of them don't offer that option, so I'm going to talk about that next. So 2 of the things I mentioned are kitchens and air conditioners. I think the only place that has air conditioners is either West or East Village townhouses. West is usually for family housing, so if you have pre-existing conditions that would prohibit you from living in a normal residence room, this is just one room. Not a family cannot live in just one room. It's pretty infeasible. So the university offers family housing for people who already have a family started before they come to university. And then the other option is the East Village townhouses if you're looking for air conditioning. I lived in an East Village townhouse in my previous year on campus. And it was very nice in the summer, in the early fall, September, October months, to have air conditioning. All of the residences have heat, but I'm pretty sure that the East Village townhouses and the West family housing are the only ones that have air conditioning. And as for kitchens, every residence does have access to a kitchen of some sorts. It's just how much do you cook that's really important for that. So I lived in the East Village townhouses, and there was a kitchen shared between 4 people. It was right in our unit, so it was really easy. I made pretty much every meal at home, so especially if you have dietary restrictions, things like that, East Village townhouse would be a great place to live. You don't have to have a meal plan. Another place would be the Glengarry Tower, which is part of East as well. They have kitchens. They're shared between 13, 14 people, but they are still right in the unit. You don't have to have a meal plan. I'm pretty sure that Dundas also has kitchens. And is there one called Lanark? I'm not really sure. But there's a couple of those that are all in the east vicinity. They have kitchens right in the unit, so you don't have to have a meal plan. And that's super helpful for people that are gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian. If you come from somewhere that doesn't have very similar food to the University of Guelph, so you're a little worried about if you'll find something that you like eating. Although I think that it's really easy to find something to eat. I'm also not restricted in any dietary way, and I come from a North American food background, so my options are very unlimited here at the university. And I mentioned that every residence does have access to a kitchen. So when I live in South currently, we have access to a microwave room that is shared between about 150 people, but it's not really ever a problem. We keep it pretty clean, and I almost never run into anyone in the microwave room. And then we do have a kitchen that's shared between 500 people. So all of Maritime, which is where I live, we share one kitchen, which is in the Eccles Center. All of Prairie shares one kitchen, which is in the first floor of Prairie entryway. And the same thing with Mountain. All of Mountain, that 500 people, they all share one kitchen that's in the basement or the first floor of the Mountain entryway. Although I don't have any first-hand experience with this, I'm pretty sure that the North Campus residences work in the same way, that they have kitchens that you can access. They're shared between a lot less people, I'm pretty sure, between 20 and 40. But do double check that, and I will link below the University of Guelph Housing YouTube channel. That's a really great resource. I obviously don't have access to every single room on campus, but they do. So if you haven't checked that out already, I highly encourage you to take those little 360 walkthroughs of anywhere that you're interested in, as well as looking at the amenities. Now that we've had that really long talk about kitchens, I would like to share next about access to food. So in South, we are connected directly to two cafeterias, the Prairie Hall and the Mountain Hall Diner. So I don't have to go outside. I can go in my flip-flops if I want to. I can go get breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. They're open. Mountain is open the most. I think it's open 8 a.m. to midnight every single day, and I'm pretty sure Prairie is open 10 to 7 every day. Not quite sure on that. I'll put the hospitality hours as well in the description box below. But, you know, it was something that was important to me because I know that I'm not super motivated to eat, that if I wanted to make sure I didn't skip a lot of meals, I wanted to live somewhere that I was directly connected to food. So like I said, all of South is directly connected to two diners, and then the other place that's connected to direct food is the Lenox-Addington complex. Lenox and Addington are separate, but they're connected in the middle, and they're connected by the LA Pit, which is a grocery store, as well as like a ready-go cafeteria, and there's a Starbucks in there as well. So, you know, you have food right in there. You don't have to bundle up and get your coat on in the winter months. You can get access to food right away. So if you are like me and you are not very motivated to eat, as if the food is not right there in easy access, I would recommend either living in South or in Lenox and Addington. Now, other places do have very quick access. For example, Johnston is only a 2-minute walk from Curlman Hall and the UC, so it's super close proximity as well, but you do have to go outside, which I find to be too big of a barrier for me to cross. Same thing with Watson. It's right across from Curlman, and then, you know, all of the North Campus's residences are in very close proximity to the LA Pit, as well as Curlman, which is on north side of campus. If you live in the East Village townhouses, East Tower, the Glengarry Tower, or Dundas, you know, there's a grocery store right there, but there's no ready-go option. So you do have to walk either to Curlman, the University Center, South, or North Campus, which are all about 10 to 15-minute walks. And especially in the winter, you do not want to be going outside for lunch. So usually I always had a backup food supply that I could just real fast whip up maybe a mac and cheese or something like that on my stove. And the reason that there's no super close proximity cafeteria is because all of those residences do have the option of a stove, so they sort of prioritize the places that don't have that option to put the food closer to them. Yeah, that's just the way it ended up. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but I have been referring to South as a whole. That's what we do at the university. Like the students around campus, we refer to it just as South. Even though it feels like one big building, it is actually 3 separate buildings. And when you apply to residence, you will have to rank Maritime, Mountain, and Prairie, you know, which is your favorite one. So personally for me, I live in Maritime. I like living in Maritime because it is the quietest one of the 3. It does not have any food in the entryway, so, you know, there's not a lot of mess. A lot of times in Mountain it can get pretty crazy since they're open until midnight. You know, there's sometimes fries on the stairs that someone dropped and didn't pick up. And additionally, Maritime is the closest to the gym and the skating rink, which are 2 things that I use a lot, so I really like living in Maritime. But if you would rather have that closer proximity to food, or if you'd rather have that closer proximity to the bus stops, living in Mountain might be the best choice for you. Prairie's always a good middle ground, but it's all up to you. And just, look at the map carefully before you decide. If it doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter, and that's fine too. Now, to shift into something that I think should matter to you, whether you want to have a roommate or not. The University of Guelph offers single rooms, double rooms, triples, and quads as well. I'm not sure with COVID if we're still offering the quads and the triples, but I know for a fact we still have doubles and singles. I currently live in a single. There's girls on my floor that are in a double, and I think that's an important thing that you need to think about before you apply to residence. I applied to a single because it's very important to me having quiet time and personal space. But at the same time, I was a little worried that I wouldn't make as many friends because I wouldn't have that one person to kickstart all my friendships. If you live in a double, you usually have double the friendships because there's two people making friends, bringing them over to the room, and you get to interact with a lot of people all the time. If you are a very combative person, if you know that you butt heads with a lot of people, especially your siblings, your friends, your parents, I definitely would not recommend a double because it is difficult to live with a person for an entire 2 semesters, and that's why there is always the option to transfer out of that room. The University of Guelph really recommends that you stay until the end of the semester, the fall semester usually, because rooms open up at the semester break, so it's easiest to move you into a new place in the middle of between semesters rather than in the middle of a semester. And when you apply to residence and you decide that you do want to be in a double, I am pretty sure that you get to request a roommate. If you both request each other, then you'll be put together. And otherwise, you fill out an aptitude test that asks you, are you a night owl? Do you like to study in your room or in the library or somewhere else? Do you spend a lot of time in the room? Will you have an open door policy? Will the door be open all the time? Things like that can help match you with someone who's very similar so that you don't have those problems. So even if you don't know someone already at the university, you hopefully will be matched with someone who matches you well and will be a good friend to you. So wrapping up, I want to quickly touch on the price. There is a slight price discrepancy. Single rooms are more expensive than doubles, triples, and quads in that order. I currently live in one of the most expensive rooms on campus because it's a South single. There's a lot of demand for this type of room. Another place that's super expensive is the East Village townhouses because they are, like I said, air conditioned. They've got a kitchen. You get a lot of space in those places. You get like a lounge area as well as just your bedroom. And so do look at those prices, but in all reality, it's only a couple of $100s in difference. So, I don't really think it's super important to skimp out on your residence and choose somewhere that you don't actually want to live just because you might save a couple of $100s. So now that we've gotten your preferences out of the way, I do want to talk about how the university assigns residences to students. So when you apply and you are accepted at the university, you do have to submit a residence deposit of, I think it's $750 by June 1st, June 15th. Make sure you check that for this year. My year it was June 1st, in the past it's been June 15th, so check your email, check your web advisor. I'm not advising you on that right now. But when you pay your residence deposit, that's when you get to choose and rank the residences that you want to live in. And the university assigns every single student with a number for when they are put in a lottery. So I was assigned number 542 one year. So I get the 542nd choice of residence. So I rank my choices 1 through 4. Say that Maritime South is my first choice, Maritime Prairie is my second, Maritime Mountain is my third, and then East Village Townhouses is my fourth. If Maritime is still available when they get to 542, they'll give me Maritime. If Maritime is not available, they'll look to Prairie. Is Prairie available? If yes, they'll give it to me. If not, they'll look to my third choice, things like that. And there is a difference in your choices, whether it's a single room, a double, a triple. So for example, if I really wanted to live in Maritime and it didn't matter at all to me what type of room I lived in, I would rank a single in Maritime, a double in Maritime, a triple in Maritime, and then maybe something in Prairie, because I really want to live in Maritime. On the other hand, if a single is really important to you, don't put a double on your list, on your ranking list. They will give you a double if that's the only thing available, but if it's on your list, that's a much higher likelihood that you're going to get a double when you actually wanted a single. There are a lot of students that apply to residence at the University of Guelph, but I am pretty sure that they 100% guarantee that you will get one of your 4 choices. They do not guarantee that you get your first choice just because of the way that they do their lottery system. but I didn't get my first choice first year, and it worked out for the better for me. I made a lot of friends. I became the cluster leader because I lived in the cluster. So don't be too upset if you don't get your first choice. Try and make the best of it. And if you really don't like where you're placed, try and switch at the semester break. So I hope I've been able to answer all of your questions. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I really recommend coming here to take a tour. They will walk you through all of the different residences, and especially if you say, like, I'm really interested in Lambton, they'll take you to Lambton just to help you imagine yourself at the university. And as I was saying in the middle of the video, University of Guelph Housing has a really good YouTube channel that I'm linking below that has some pretty outdated, but they're still there, 360 room tours of all of the residences as well as the amenities. And when I say amenities, I mean like the laundry, the microwave room, the lounges, the sinks, the bathrooms, things like that. So check those out for sure. If you do have any more questions, leave them in the comments down below and I'll try and answer them to the best of my ability. I have only lived in Maritime and the East Village townhouses. Once again, you can check out those videos over here. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that you find success at the University of Guelph, and I'll see you in the next video.